Hello, everyone. Today we have yet again leaders of the world as furries. This is all the S nations, and because of that, there's a lot of them today. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Michaela Lieberd of St. Kitts and Nevis. The only thing I know about St. Kitts and Nevis is it's an island in the Caribbean, so I decided I would go with a pelican. Next up, we have Errol Charles of Saint Lucia or Saint Lucy. He is again run of the mill a chud, so I decided to go with a dragon. Next up, we have Susan Dugan, who, oddly enough, before becoming the head of St. Venice and Grenadines, she was a teacher. And oddly enough, when I was a little younger, I think it was in middle school, I had a teacher named Miss Dugan who was also a teacher and black. And she really loved squirrels, so I gave her a squirrel. Now, next up we have this guy whose name I cannot pronounce, but he is essentially the king, the head of state of Samoa. Perhaps the chief, I guess you could call it. The Ole Ao Ole Malo. And I figure, hey, king of an island nation, give him something cool like a moth. That, and you know, he's a former police officer, but like seems really chill. And one furry I actually knew who was a former cop who became chill later in life. He was a moth. We smoked a lot of shit together in Minecraft. Next up, we have Melina Gasperoni, who's the one of the two regents of San Marino, which is like a tiny micronation in like Italy. She's so obscure that I can't. She doesn't have a picture in her fucking Wikipedia page. And this is the other regent of captain regents of San Marino, the dual heads of state of this tiny obscure nation. I decided to just make them lion and lioness. I think it would be just fitting. Next, we have Carlos Nova of Sao Tome, which is Sao Tome and Principe is like tiny island nations off of the coast of Africa. So I gave him a zebra because he just seems like a moderate and someone who's only really in politics for himself. Next up, we have Muhammad Muhammad Salman Al Saud. I want everyone to know that I do not support the Saudi Arabian government. I do not support any government that is a theocracy or a monarchy, and I love freedom of expression. I made him a just a straight up crocodile because he probably does actually eat babies. Wait a minute. God damn it. Ignore this. I'm not gonna edit out this blooper either because I'm too fucking lazy. Fucking misclicks, you gotta love it. Upon further inspection. Oh, that's an alligator. I'm fucking stupid. Alligator, crocodile, same thing. Still eats babies, just like the Saudi royal prince. I'm forever convinced that the Saudi royal family eats children. Next up, we have this guy's name, who I can't pronounce. I just know that he's the head of Senegal, and apparently his middle name means honorable, which I think is kind of cute. And he's a socialist, so I made him the most honorable creature in all of Africa, the rhino. Next up, we have the head of Serbia, Miloš Večević. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I could be wrong. I don't know. I can't read Serbian Cyrillic, just like normal Russian Cyrillic. He's a lawyer, and he seems like a really toxic person because of all of his transphobia, so pufferfish. Besides, what was the last time you saw a pufferfish furry? Next up, we have Wavel Ramkalawan, who is the head of the Seychelles. And apparently he was the first president who had a peaceful transition of power, so I can only imagine how crazy Seychelles politics are. So I decided to make him a mule because he seems like a pretty peaceful, chill guy who doesn't go murdering people. Next up, we have Julius Bio, who's the head of Sierra Leone, and apparently served in a prior military junta. So I decided to make him a cobra because while he's, or not a cobra, a python, because while he's pretty cool, I don't know if I can trust him. Next up, we have Tharman. I can't pronounce your last name. Known mononymously as Tharman. He's the head of Singapore and an economist. Now, when I think of economist from Singapore, I think of people who want to wreck the world in the name of capitalism. So I went with a monkey because monkeys like to wreck things. Specifically a proboscis monkey. Next, we have Robert Fico of Slovakia. All I know about him is that he's also a chud. He's like one of the very few chuddy leftists out there. He's like Nazbol light, and he's Z. He is a vatnik. He has drank the Putin rice and laced Kool-Aid. So I made him a. This is technically a peccary, because I kind of felt like a boar or a pig would be a little bit too, it'd be a little bit too overdone. I've been calling this politician is a pig. Yeah, well, I got bored of saying pig, so here's a peccary, which is kind of like a boar. Next up, we have Robert Golob of Slovenia, leader of the freedom movement, blah, 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 PhD, electrical engineer. I said, hey, fuck it, electrical engineer, educated in Georgia. This is a really intelligent dude. Every furry I've ever met who wasn't a fox, who was an electrical engineer, just so happened to be a protogen, a Slovenian protogen. That's a cursed image. Next up, we have David Tiva Kapu of the Solomon Islands, and he's an Anglican priest. This is what he looks like. He's that obscure. I decided to make him a fox because a lot of Anglicans that I've met who were also furries were also foxes. That and Kapu to me seems like a very, not like progressive. I would say like a liberal, but like a balls hair to the left liberal, like Amy Goodman or some shit. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, fucking Vivzy Pop. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, who is the head of Somalia, or at least the Somalian government that America recognizes. I recognize Somaliland. I don't care what anyone says. Anyway, he strikes me as someone who's also very untrustworthy, so I gave him a cobra. Next up, we have Cyril Ramaphosa. I'm probably butchering that, but he's the Cyril is the head of South Africa after the current the prior debacle with with Jacob Zumba. This guy is an interesting character and seems like a pretty chill dude, like, and wants everyone to like not murder each other. So I gave him a dove. Specifically, this is a Cape dove, which is native to South Africa. Finally, we have Yoon Suk Yeol, who is, well, in my opinion, he's a parasite, but I couldn't find any flattering pictures of ticks. So I made him a macaque, which is pretty much the same. Which is to say, he's a massive annoyance. I hate to say that about the current state of South Korean politic, but all of South Korean politic is basically everyone down there is like really misogynistic, and they're kind of like they have like this very misogynistic and toxic culture. I hate to sound like a bleeding heart social justice warrior, but the way they treat women down there is just awful. So I think the people in power need to get out. I'm not saying Kim Jong Un is any better, but I'm just saying they shouldn't break striking workers. The Chable families all eat dead children and blah blah blah. You get the idea. Eat the rich. Next up, we have Salva Kiir, or just Salva Kiir. He's the head of South Sudan. His hat is very iconic and a gift from George Bush, allegedly. This guy is 100% backed by the CIA. There's no doubt in my mind this dude's like not like getting some kind of dirty money from the Five Eyes. So I made him a well, this is an African wolf, but coyote. Because the CIA, they're wolves, and the KGB are a bunch of jackals. But both agencies are a bunch of bitches. You get it? Because female dogs. Anyway, we have Pedro Sanchez of Spain. He seems, he from my read of his resume, he's essentially a socialist who's doing his best in a forever burning planet due to ecological disasters. So I made him an eagle because goodness knows we need champions this day and age. Up next we have Ranil, I can't pronounce your last name, who is the current head of Sri Lanka. He was the head of the Ministry Youth Affairs and Employment before, well, I mean, from what I know, he is there because in 2022 there was a massive, and I'm talking a massive, uprising of everyday people, and you know what? If it gets the rich and powerful out and scared, I'm happy. So this guy, I can mess with. I fucks with him. I fucks with him in his movement. I gave him a tiger because I totally do not support the Tamil tigers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Gee, I hope the CIA never gives arms to the Naxalites or the Tamil tigers. That'd be horrible for the banking class that owns them. Next up, we have Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, who is the current army general of Sudan and the head of the Sudanese military junta. Now, when I say free Palestine, I also mean the Congo and Turtle Island and Sudan, etc., and Ukraine. So this guy is another bloodthirsty maniac. So I gave him a African wild dog. Now, if you've ever seen what those things can do to people, you would agree with me that every African wild dog ever, were a human, would be a bloodthirsty maniac. Next up, we have Chan Santokhi, or just Chan. He is the current leader of Suriname, and I made him a dhole because I don't trust him, but he looks fucking cool from a distance. I mean, just look at that fucking sash and that look of determination on his face. Next up, we have Ulf Kristersson, who is the head of Sweden. Now, Swedish reactionaries are racist as all shit, so I made him a German Shepherd, because every time I see a dog biting a person of color, it's a police German Shepherd in Minecraft. Um, Victor. Next up, we have Victor Rossi, who is technically there's no one single leader to Switzerland. They have like a council, but that council has a vice chancellor, and that's like the closest thing they have to a president or prime minister. Um, so there's this dude, Victor Rossi. He strikes me as a rabbit because he doesn't seem to really enjoy the limelight. He's seems to be pretty shy and pretty apolitical almost for a politician. He doesn't seem to have any strong opinions about shit one way or the other. At least none that I've been managed to dig up. And finally, we have Bashar al-Assad, who is again another rambunctious, bloodthirsty, cannibal, John Wayne Gacy if we gave him a country type of guy. So I made him a vulture because he is a king eating up a dying country in a dying region, and he's going to have every last bite to himself. If you are in Syria, now is your time to go to Hungary and shake. I want you to go to Hungary and call call Viktor Orban a fat meanie and tell him that his goulash is terrible. And I say this as someone with Hungarian blood, so no one can say I'm being racist. Anyway, that was a doozy. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.